Hello everybody, welcome back to Let's Play RGFX on 4000 Week Reich as Germany. Let's continue on from where we last left off. So, Hitler is feeling pretty sick at the moment. The Bloody Tuesday in Italy. For several days now, strikes have been spiraling out of control in the Italian government in Bergamo. Now, however, it seems that Rome resolved to put these to an end, whatever it takes. The Italian army was deployed in force to break up these strikes, with tanks rolling through the streets. Many shots were fired, resulting in the deaths of many protesters. News of crackdowns are sparse, likely due to Italian cover-up, but what's for sure is that it's been altogether a bloody affair. For now, the strikes have been ended and order restored, but an extreme show of force could easily lead to great resentment and instability in the near future. So, we'll see which way Italy decides to kind of flow in the future. Lufthansa announces expansion. Today in a press conference, the proud German airline company Deutsche Lufthansa has announced the expansion to cover more airports around the world, including parts of India and a renewed route towards China. These newer, longer flights require refueling in airports on these routes, giving a perfect opportunity to show the world the superiority of German engineering. Now Germans can easily travel to new destinations across the world. Exciting. A little bit of political power for us is not bad. The party debates. We'll do one more and see if maybe we can get something to actually work out this time. If we're lucky, fingers crossed on that one. Serbia has declared war on Israel. So yeah, they'll probably just move troops down there as soon as they possibly can. And Japan renounces the right to war. The Japanese government, in an apparent attempt to become truly independent from international occupation, has recently renounced their full right to engage in any conflict, seemingly an even more harsh version of Article 9. This gesture was done by the Japanese government to push for further independence and self-determination. Several Japanese conservatives and radical politicians have raised their protest against this policy and used this as a rally point for radicals, leftist, and rightist opposition alike. So we'll see if that works out for them and Japan becomes an independent state, probably within the Toronto Accord, in the future. And the death of Weizmann. Hero and shepherd of the Jewish people, Chaim Weizmann lived a life of controversial as the state he helped build. Born in 1904 in Belarus, Chaim was a qualified chemist in Germany, but it was in the halls of London that he would achieve fame and prominence as the financial leader of Zionism. Weizmann was influential in guiding and advising British authorities in a general formation of a Jewish network of settlements in Palestine against the objection of Arab leaders. His covert Jewish brigade infiltrated Nazi soil and discovered the black horrors therein, partially leading to the subsequent establishment of the State of Israel within the Confederation. Under his management, Israel has managed to establish a functional democracy under the guise of those who would see it wiped from existence. Good news for his death. A memorial day for the movement. 1923, the forefathers of National Socialism marched in the streets of Munich. They have been immortalized by our great Führer and now remembered by all. The struggle of the German greatness must not be forgotten, and for this day we shall pay our respects to the fallen, for they have brought Germany glory and prosperity. So a little bit of political power, a little bit of stability is nice for us. We're at currently 26% world. How are we at 26% world tension? How is that possibly the case? Really, the German spaceflight generated 9.7%. Okay, the German, nuclear bomb test, I can understand how that might boost up some stability or some world tension. But really, just going to space? Come on now. Warren elected as president. With the votes having been counted, Earl Warren has won the 1952 presidential election as the Republican nominee. A prominent establishment Republican who leans towards the progressive wing of the party, he has brought the Republicans back into the White House for the first time in 20 years and will be inaugurated officially in January. A leader of the free world. And yeah, we'll deploy units just around Germany for now. I guess it's the infantry divisions that are going to be deploying. I'm not too sure. I guess we'll put you on the French front for now, because that's really the only front that, as of right now, doesn't have a full 24 stack within it. We do have 149 political power, so let's go for probably an infantry manufacturer. A minus 25% on production cost is incredibly good. So we'll take that, and we'll probably want to research the next level of rifles. I guess around in 1958, which actually is pretty expensive, unfortunately. The Führer health declines again. They simply cannot hide any longer. The doctors have failed to hide the true info from the Führer's health from Hitler. After Hitler suffered a minor stroke, the Führer was outraged after knowing that the doctor had hid it from him, or the execution for all the medical staff involved. But Albert Speer successfully calmed Hitler down and prevented the removal of Hitler's entire medical team. Joseph Goebbels is strongly convinced the public that all is fine, but the Führer's health But the Fuhrer has faith in him. So we're going to lose 150 political power, which is not great, seeing as we just spent all of it. Actually, no, it's okay. Because we just spent all the political power on upgrading our infantry equipment. So overall, I still think that works out okay. The Nazi Constitution. Currently, the Constitution, which our regime lays upon, is the old Weimar Constitution. While many of its terms have been bent to suit National Socialism, the background is still peppered with the idiotic ideas of freedom and democracy. Hermann Göring suggested the possibility of drafting a Nazi constitution to forever uphold the teachings of National Socialism, with the potential benefit of forever enshrining the Fuhrer into Germany. However, after Bormann caught wind of these suggestions, he and his many confidants urged the Fuhrer to reject any attempts by Göring, saying that the words of the Fuhrer are already the foundation of German nationalism, and any formal documentation is an attempt at paving the way for a future power grab, calling Göring out as a power-craving drug addict. So Bormann is right. Lose a little possibility, but we get our political power back, or let us draft a new constitution in the death of Wojciech. At the age of 69, the first president of the Russian Republic has finally passed away. As a former white Russian general, he was a unifying figure in the fragile republic. His administration ensured the consolidation of the Russian Republic, despite his failures to secure true Russian independence. While the nation is mourning the loss, another crisis brewing with the controversial vice president being sworn in as a temporary president. Unrest has been growing throughout all of Russia. Well, we don't really care about too much what the Russian Republic is doing all the way over near Japan. President, it does look like they're basically like a an American puppet state. More than anything at the moment. Also, we do have a national focus that we want to choose. Let's go for... maybe business... Let's go for Agrarian Reform. Stability goes up for 90 days. I'll take... we're already at 95%. You know, it's probably not that great. But it does get us closer to getting the nuclear stuff down here. So you know what? Let's go for the Agrarian Reform. We still have no template for light tanks, improved anti-air motorized. But that's kind of okay. Victory for Vlasov. Without any bloodshed, Andrei Vlasov was successfully usurped the Russian presidency, succeeding the controversial Rogozin. Once a military man that fled Europe, Vlasov became somewhat a prominent, pragmatic capitalist, using his assets to form the Republic's first private consortium. He is the leader of the militarists, widely popular with the nationalists and the army, although opposed by the powerless politicians. Regardless, Vlasov's ascension means a new chapter for the Republic. So you are now a... is that despot? You're paternal autocrats. Okay. So you are the National Alliance of Russian Solidarists. Would you be interested in maybe forming an alliance with us and maybe using that to either crush the Americans or to fight against the remnants of the Soviets? I'm just saying both of those things could be beneficial for us. You know, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. So we still don't have enough resources, because I don't think we have any factories yet still. Oversized Kriegsmarine. I mean, Himmler's helping us out a decent amount with the negative 10%, but civilian economy is still not great. Because civilian economy right now, in order to change that, I mean, 697? Very expensive. We also just got 3 technologies done at the exact same time. But still, why are you so pricey? We might just need to save up all our political power for that then. Let's go for defense and soft attack plus 10%. Defense and organization plus... that's really good, actually. So let's go for... the asymmetric. That seems okay. And is there anything that we need a lot of? Anti-tank, we're still missing a decent amount, so we'll put one more factory in that. We should be good to go. And Socialist Republic of Vietnam has capitulated, so it looks like the Chinese have won their war. Chinese triumph in Vietnam. The war has certainly not been an easy one. Please, I'm trying to... oh, dear. Something's going on in Turkestan. The war has certainly not been easy for the Chinese as they hope, but after months of brutal fighting and mounting losses, most of the country is now under control of the Chinese army and its nationalist Vietnamese allies. Resistance continues in the jungles, but China is considering this to be a hard-fought victory. The war, it seems, is over. So, Turkestan has exploded into about 15 different pieces. The Turkistani Civil War. With the rise of an incompetent ruler, the already unstable nation of Turkestan has found herself collapsing into a brutal civil war. Local nationalists representing the many ethnic groups in the region have armed themselves in attempts to secure their freedom from the grips of Turkestani government. While this war is mainly between the nationalists and the loyalists, a faction of Democrats in the Turkistan government has managed to secure enough land to become a comparable faction in the Civil War. Passing a point of no return, these disagreements in Turkestan must be settled by force, and the Civil War will only end with a total collapse of Turkestan or the defeat of the nationalists. And Francisco Franco has died. Francisco Franco, Caudillo of Spain, Generalissimo of the Spanish Armed Forces, and figurehead of the Spanish FET, Yad La Jones, has perished. During one of his less than regular speeches to the public of El Parado, Franco was shot by a lone sniper associated with the Spanish communists underground. News of his death has panic across Spain, both in the military and more importantly, the national movement, the sole legal party of Spain. With the only unifying figure gone, many worry that the party will quickly fall apart due to the competition between the Carlist elements and the Falangist. Luis Carrillo Blanco, Spain's deputy prime minister, has already begun to appoint the next Caudillo. The many fear that Blanco's ascension to power could throw Spain into a second civil war, just as disastrous as the first. So he died. When did Franco die in real life? It was like the 70s, right? 1972, 77, around that time. But this time he's just been shot, probably like right in the chest by a sniper. Spain, if you do enter a second civil war, if you would join my alliance, I wouldn't mind, sending you some troops to, make the, how do you say, transition smoother. We finished our Agrarian Reform. Let's go up to the conservative approach. Cap goes up, construction speed goes up. We'll take all of that. And Volkswagen over 1 million models. Before the rise of the Führer, Germany had only cars for the rich. The common German had no money for a car. Only about 1 out of 50 Germans had a car. The People's Car, the project showing the kindness of National Socialism, was envisioned by the Führer himself, where he imagined a car for the German people of any economic class. A car for all the Deutschvolk. The car was to cost only 1,000 Deutschmarks or less. Of course, during the Great Fight Together War, it's difficult to have the resources for the production of the cars, but post-war, they have production continue. Thusly, it wouldn't take too long for 1 million of them to be produced. This was commemorated with the distribution of a limited number of the Volkswagen that had a red and black color scheme and a small swastika on the door. So limited edition models will be distributed under a raffle and be limited to 1,000 units. We get another 10 prestige, or 10 political power, which is nice. We're still missing resources, but again, I can't do anything about that, so we'll just kind of disband that for now. And a coup d'etat in Cuba. Cuba's government has been overthrown by a military coup. The Cuban army, led by Felicio Batista, has shut down the civilian government and installed itself in power. It is now rests on Batista to form a new government, likely to be authoritarian in nature. There are rumors that the U.S. was involved in supporting this coup, especially though through backing military opposition using the CIA, something which Washington denies, along with its intelligence services being involved in any Latin American nation's internal governments. Such speculation remains as yet unconfirmed. So the United States, Cuba is now led by Batista, is not currently in the Toronto Accord, but I wouldn't be too surprised if they do end up joining at some point in the future. But I mean, that's just it is just bad for us, because we do want the Toronto Accord to be as weak as humanly possible, because they do have a pretty decent chunk of Africa. Of course, they have the United States and Canada and the British just off our coast. So we probably, do we need to worry about the potential of a war with the Toronto Accord? The answer, of course, is yes. It could happen. And for that, what I'm actually going to do is my Navy, we're going to send all of you down to near Amsterdam for now. And the reason for this, okay, Eel Warren has been inaugurated. Just what? Please, I'm just trying to combine these guys together. Combine our fleet. We will assign you to be in charge. Turkestan has capitulated, and Earl Warren has been inaugurated. I do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the office of my President of the United States, and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. 2 months after the election itself, Earl Warren has been officially inaugurated as the President of the United States of America. As a national mall in Washington, in front of cheering crowds, the oath was made, and a new leader of the free world was brought into power. It remains to be seen if this signals a shift in U.S. policy around the world. Because you are now liberal. Turkestan has been dissolved, which is, I guess, not a huge surprise. And you are now socialist. We have paternal autocrat. You are paternal autocrat. And you are also socialists. We have 3 socialists, 2 paternal autocrats. We'll see kind of how that switches things in the future. The flooding and the mock submarine. Well, today on the 20th anniversary of the mock submarine, just as people prepared to celebrate, a flood caused by a storm hit the coast of the Low Countries and affected thousands. Lives were lost, and while Britain took major hits from the flooding, this still notably damaged Germany's regional economy. However, it is no day to mourn, since people must celebrate the great day that the Führer took power. German propaganda minister assured that these events are purely coincidental and bear no sinister undertones. Is this a bad omen? No, it's fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it. I will go for... I mean, what do I want to research right now? Because it is 1953. We'll go for large-scale jet engines, just because that probably has some more implications in the future. What do we want to do here? We can start sending support. These 1,000 rifles. Let's send 1,000 rifles to... probably Moscow. That's to Ukraine, Ostland. Yeah, let's send 1,000 guns to Moscow. This seems like an okay choice. In fact, I should have actually not done that, because so we can save our political power to not be on civilian economy. But that's fine. Exile of the Dutch government. The Dutch government in exile located in Indonesia has once again relocated to another base of operations. Its personnel and other members have been evacuated to the Dutch colony Suriname, declaring an end to the confederational status between Indonesia and the Netherlands. Remaining areas under Dutch control in Indonesia are now under the direct control of the Dutch colonial army, and widespread panic in these areas are reported, as white Dutch settlers in these areas scrambled to board refugee ships bound for Australia and Singapore. The Toronto Accord has sent humanitarian aid for both Indonesian and Dutch refugees, claiming to be a neutral in this conflict. So Indonesia, I believe, is now... I mean, I'm surprised you're abandoning the territory so quickly. I mean, you're not even close to actually winning the war. Unless you've taken over, like, the major regions, but you don't even know about Bavaria, which is, like, the capital of, like, Indonesia. So I'm not too sure why they would abandon this area so quickly. Never mind. Okay, they signed a white peace. Yeah, so I have a feeling that the Indonesia, then, is just probably going to be completely communist soon, which is probably not great for us. Non-core manpower goes up a little bit. Stability... I mean, you're both kind of meaningless for stability, but the production efficiency base plus 10% could be nice. Because we're already at 100% stability. Stability in Germany is going pretty well. As long as a certain person in charge doesn't die, then we should be good to go. Yeah, you guys are still being trained up, which is nice. Prime Minister Gokstall. An era of British history has ended with the resignation of Clement Attlee. This morning, crowds gather in Downing Street to catch a glimpse of the outgoing Prime Minister. For the last time, the cabinet is summoned. Hugh Gaskell was there, now to be Mr. Attlee's successor. The crowd watches as the ministers leave, sad face at departing. With his characteristic pipe clutched in his hand, the elder Prime Minister set off to tender his resignation to the young Queen. Mr. Gaskell was subsequently summoned to Buckingham Palace, where he accepted the Queen's invitation to form a government. Mr. Gaskell, who triumphantly won the leadership contest against the benevolent former Minister John Freeman, is now mandated to act out his party reforms. So is it still... I mean, it looks like he's still in charge. And Ethiopia has been annexed, but that's not a big surprise here, I would say. But it looks like Clement is still currently in charge of Britain, so I'm not too sure what they're going to be doing there. The Führer's health rapidly declines. During a typical day in Germania, the Führer's personal servants realized that he hadn't left his room in hours. While none dared to enter without his summoning, they eventually alerted the Reich's First Lady, Eva Braun, of the situation. The doors were open, and inside the Führer passed out after a few attempts by the guards to wake him up. Hitler seemed to recover and quickly got back to his feet. His servants strongly advised him to seek treatment as soon as possible. However, to do this might embolden other leading figures of the state to launch a coup in a repeat of 1948. We're going to get another 5% stability, which again, we don't really need. And Italy's declaring war on Croatia. I'm not too sure why they're going to war, but sure. Italian influence. You're preparing a war against Hungarians. Okay, Italy, if you just want to take over Croatia. I mean, that's probably threatening our fragile peace within Europe. I was just going to let you know that. I have noticed that this whole area is now a demilitarized zone, and I don't know when or why that has happened. Why are you demilitarized now? What have I done? Have I done something wrong by putting Himmler in charge of overseeing Burgundy? No, that can't possibly be the case. But I'm going to delete all these guys. I guess I'll fallback line across the river for now. I'm a little bit worried about what his plan is. Oh, Hitler's dead. Okay, the Fuhrer is dead. Today, the most powerful man in the world and the man who defined the last 30 years of history, the Fuhrer Adolf Hitler, has perished. This month was a triumphant month for Hitler, suffering a turbulent month. Not triumphant, but a turbulent month for Hitler, suffering 2 strokes and having multiple heart attacks. Thought to be the culmination of years of medical issues, leaked reports indicate that he was eventually left weak and mostly unable to walk, staying in his private home, the Burghof, to rest and stay close to his wife. Along with one of the best doctors in the Reich, in the case of emergency, the area around Burghof has been locked down from any civilians. The German government has announced a period of national mourning for all of Germany for 1 month, while millions across the world will briefly celebrate the death of the man who brought so much suffering in his wake. So we're going to negative 20% stability. Nobody's going to want to join our wars, and political power minus 10%. But I mean, even then, the stability is really not that bad. So unfortunately, Hitler is now dead, which is not great. I don't know what's happening in Burgundy. Where is Burghof? It's like around Austria, isn't it? I think so. I don't actually know 100%. So planning the funeral. To organize an unforgettable event to remember the Fuhrer, the German leadership must plan a grand funeral for the world to see. This funeral must be an event that would be remembered for thousands of years and be witnessed by the entire world to dignify our mighty symbol of National Socialism and Aryan superiority. But now German leaders put their politics aside, working together for one forever glorify their dearest Führer. Can I not just like send you guys down towards the border? Just make your way down south, please, and thank you. The King of Sweden sends a message. The Kingdom of Sweden has refused our invitation using nonsensical reasons to deny their attendance. Instead, they have sent us an obviously heartless radio message expressing their fake grief towards the Führer's tragic passing. So, thanks Sweden for absolutely nothing. The White Sea has been evacuated. Our Kriegsmarine base on the White Sea coast is under a severe threat from Bolsheviks in the region. While our assets are being transferred back to Germany, a token force of White Sea Fleet soldiers and sailors are left in charge of the protection zone. An attempt to hold off against the Red Army tide for as long as possible. So I guess you come down south. Even Italy's refused. Seemingly still disgruntled about Germany's success, the Italian government has ignored our invitation and said it's a short, but clearly but a product of the brief draft done by the lazy Italian fascists. How dare you? And Bormann summons the Senate. As an emergency meeting has been called after the death of Adolf Hitler, officials debated about what should be done in the immediate course of action to bring Germany back on track after the sudden disaster. Reich's leader Martin Bormann suggests the establishment of the Senate to secure unity within the NSDAP, handling Germany until the internal election to decide the next leader. The Senate would be headed by Bormann himself, though he states the position of President of the Senate is merely a ceremonial role. As a rounds of debate, the Senate was declared and put in transforming a new temporary ruling body of Germany. And you're dissenting German support. I mean, the Council Coalition's been bypassed. What is that event in here? Okay, so you... We can't do this quite yet. The position of the Weimar. China has accepted our invitation. Bonded by a relationship ever since the Weimar Germany, the Republic of China has accepted our invitation with its utmost respect. Chang Wai-ku and a group of ambassadors will attend the grand funeral and will attend several states visit activities to improve relations between China and Germany. So finally, somebody's accepted. Finally. Heroes Memorial Day. For now, from Atlantic to Euro, Germany stands tall within the world. Our Germany, our fatherland, which 17 years ago was still shackled by terms unjustly imposed upon him by the decadent West. Today thrives in its rightful place on top of mankind. Liberation from injustice brought upon us a new path of glory, and with guidance of the Führer and the spirit of Aryan Volk, we broke free from our former chains. Like a phoenix, our flame of... Have I not read this before? I think I've read it before, but I'll continue reading it for now. Like a phoenix, our flame of rebirth swept the old order away. The flame that also lights the torch that heralded a new glorious era where all Germans may live free, unshackled, unburdened under the rule of the Führer. And thanks to the brave courageous sons of the fatherland, triumphantly won after fighting all Jewish puppets from California to Kamatu, may Germany stand tall now, then, and forever. Excerpt from Alfred Eger Bern's speech from Volksland, the Hero Memorial must live on, for now the people shall celebrate. So we're going to get a little bit of stability, a little bit of political power. Probably not so meaningful in the wake of the death of Hitler, but we'll see. The Metropolitan terror attack. Ordered by the Swiss resistance, a handful of German Swiss detonated a bomb in one of our factories. We are unable to capture the bombers, although we have reports of them being Swiss Germans. They are hard to discover due to their fluency in German and their ability to sneak under the radar as normal German citizens. But I think that for right now, this is going to be a good time for us to end this episode. So thanks everybody for watching. My name is Quam. If you enjoyed, give me a thumbs up. Not enjoy, you can always thumb down. You want to subscribe, and goodbye.